Yes, I can't believe we're already here. I remember it was like 3 months ago we were filming and we were definitely feeling the Christmas vibe, but now it's like, oh my gosh, it's happening. And there's something that happens when you have shot, a project and you love it so much, and then now it's time for the world to see it. There's excitement, there's a little nervousness because you're like, oh my gosh, what are they going to think?
I know. I feel like even watching the first couple episodes, like I got butterflies in my stomach, and I think it was just really cool to relive like our dynamic with our other judge Anna, and then the contestants, like seeing them in ways that we didn't necessarily get to see them on camera too, because like we didn't get to watch their side interviews and hear the kind of full backstory behind everything that they were baking. So it was really, really cool to see it. And it did give me that like countdown to Christmas vibe that like you get when you're a kid, that childhood nostalgia of like seeing the big beautiful barn that's like all decorated like Santa's workshop. And it
Visually
was a
stunning.
very visual show.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. Oh my goodness. I'm still always blown away at how Hallmark's projects affects their audience. They can be having the worst day, or they can be, we hear stories of individuals in the hospital going through, chemo, and they're watching Hallmark and they say, for a moment, I escape and I feel good. There's a moment of hope. You made me, smile. That is, unheard of for an entire network. Do you see what I'm saying? And I feel like that is what makes Hallmark different. And behind the scenes, the actors, the producers, they all have that vibe. Everyone is just so kind and genuine and love what they're doing.
I was trying to gain some brownie points with my sisters too, because they're like huge Hallmark fans. All the things that I've done in my professional career, this was the one that like finally convinced them that I'm like a little bit cool. But no, it is. Really is so true what Tamera was saying. Like every bit of the process was like it not just being cheesy, like imbued with so much love. Like the production team, the contestants, like there was just it was like being away at summer camp for 2 weeks, like filming, but also, there were stakes, obviously. They were there in a competition, but it also didn't really feel like that. I think that they were also showing off like the family bakes that they have that have been passed down. They were there to reconnect with their loved ones as well. Like a lot of like them use it as an excuse almost to like
to be together. Well, what I loved when we were filming, and I love the show as a whole, is that each week there's a theme that the bakers have to bake. So there's Deck the Halls, Winter Wonderland, 12 Days of Christmas, obviously Christmas Day, the night before Christmas, Santa's Workshop. So you feel like you've been transported into these families' kitchen and even their Christmas table. But also, like Hallmark does so wonderfully, they pull on your heartstrings. And when you hear these bakers, their family stories about their recipes, you're like, oh, come on. Like, really? I don't want to cry again. And then just the connection that the pairs have with each other. I was trying to get some tea, and I did get some tea, but it was all warmth.
There were some ugly tears.
Yes.
there was some ugly crying at points, but it was like, all because we believed in them so much and their stories were so compelling. And I think that a lot of the times where like I know specifically where like you would cry or I would cry, it was because it also like made us think of our families. And I think that was a huge part of it. And watching the show, I think any viewer could connect to just that, like, that feeling of being with a loved one, whether they're still with us or not, at the holidays. It was really, really cool. I think I love also the journey that each team takes. Like they all kind of have their own little narrative arc throughout the show, and you get to see them grow a lot. Like even when the cameras would stop rolling, they would come up to us as judges and to Tamera and be like, "We're so like thankful because you've actually made us better bakers, like more confident in what we're doing."
I feel comfortable.
Yeah, more comfortable. Yeah.
I would have to say every single episode was like that. For me, I feel there were moments where I forgot that we were actually filming. It was wonderful to just, speak with the contestants and talk about their family stories and what Christmas means to them. And Anna said this, it was so profound. She's so profound. She said, although we all may have experienced Christmas differently with our cultures, but all underneath, it's the same. That feeling of, that hope or just the spirit of Christmas in general, that's universal. And I feel like that is what every episode embodied, right?
1000%. I'm sitting here going through like the process, and at the end when one team unfortunately has to go, like it's very real. Every single one of the other teams like comes up and like floods them with hugs, and they're crying, and like we're tearing up. And it just makes me also think about like chosen family around the holidays too, because being surrounded with family but also your loved ones, that like the connections that you've made elsewhere, I think that they all really were so like ingrained in each other's lives. Like I even now see on Instagram like some of them commenting on others of their Instagrams and stuff, and like it's very cool to see how much just this one experience, like almost in a vacuum, changed all of their lives.
Yes. Obviously, when you hear that, it's a high stake. But the most interesting thing happened, especially doing this show, and I think it's because the pairs were family members. It was about the $50,000, but then it wasn't. It was about them showcasing this, family recipe that's been passed down, and making their family proud. And ultimately they were competing against themselves, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of almost like an afterthought. Maybe not an afterthought, and that's like, I don't want to diminish how exciting that prize is, because that is like a huge prize, but you could just see in their faces like it was less about the glory and more about like doing their families proud, doing their loved ones proud. And I think that when they would mess up, it was less about like, oh my gosh, my chance at $50,000 is gone. It was more about like, I've let my partner down in some way.
Oh,
like ones from the show. Okay.
3 holiday treats. Oh, you mean just in general to describe the show? Ooh, chocolate chip cookie. Crisp and warm and kind of chewy in the middle, because to me that is warmth.
And they're familiar.
Ooh, love that.
They're
yes.
familiar and they're gooey. Ooh, okay. I was gonna say bourbon balls, but that's just because, well, okay, so maybe bourbon balls, because there were a couple contestants that make them throughout the competition, but I think that it's also like, that's such a family thing. Like, I think that that's, for me, like one of those things that I grew up making with my grandma, and like, every family kind of has their own version of that thing, right? And a lot of them did use bourbon in a lot of the things that they made. So it's a little boozy, a little chocolatey, a little comforting.
Let's see. What is a festive?
I'm trying to think of like
dessert.
another
That'll be
like I mean, in the
description.
first episode, I think we could say this is the Swiss roll.
Swiss roll. I was actually thinking that. I forgot what it was called. Thank you so much. But yes, Swiss roll, because this is the most festive baking show I have ever seen in my entire life. I mean, every corner of your screen, you're going to see a little bit of, not a little bit, a lot of Christmas. And it really just makes you jolly. It really does.
And that was the challenge, I feel like, where they all really, I mean, that was when all of them were still in the competition and they were all really able to showcase like the flavors, their story, and their kind of like design abilities too. And they all kind of took different shapes, and it was really cool to see the creativity. So I think you've got like the Swiss roll with the creativity, the festive, the chocolate chip cookies like
With
the
the
vibe, and then the
familial.
bourbon ball is like, you know, the bonbon.
Yes.
Like your little sweet treat at the end.
We did that.
Did it? Okay.
Let you in on our kiki. I had a little earpiece when I was hosting the show because I needed to stay connected with the producers. And what I loved about them is they were just like, ready, set, go. And we would be in the middle of kikiing or talking, and then all of a sudden they would be in my ear, and I would be like, oh, okay, yep. And all the contestants would look at me like, is she okay? Because they can't hear what's in my ear.
So
It was so funny. Anyways.